Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a Hamas ceasefire proposal put forward, to the details of which became apparent today. Now, this was a phased withdrawal that would have occurred over around 4.5 months. It would have seen the release of the remaining roughly 100 hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza, in return for the release of Palestinian prisoners who are being held in Israeli jails. It would also have seen the return of Palestinian civilians to the northern part of Gaza and the withdrawal of Israeli troops. Now, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said this is not acceptable. He has said that victory for Israeli defense forces is within reach, within months and not years, and he insists that Israeli troops must defeat Hamas, which is the militant organization which raided the parts of Israel on October the 7th and cost roughly 1,200 mainly civilian lives and took many hostages into Gaza. Now, it's unclear if this means that this is an end to the negotiations or simply another step in a very difficult negotiating process. The US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is in Israel. This is part of his 5th trip to the region, and he is still continuing to try to broker a ceasefire deal along with Qatar and Egypt. Now, on the ground in Gaza, there has been intense fighting still, and there is intense military operations in the south of the Gaza Strip, concentrating on the town of Rafah. This is a town on the border with Egypt, and it is where more than half of the population of the Gaza Strip is now concentrated. The humanitarian situation is increasingly dire. The UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has expressed severe concerns about the humanitarian situation there. There are many people still living in tents. It is cold, it is wet, and there's also the added complication of this being on the border with Egypt. This is Elena Becatoros with the Associated Press for CGTN in Jerusalem.